In a world that measured success by the beat of a wing or the sprint of a paw, Snoozy lived in a state of perpetual calibration. He was a sloth of remarkable somatic intelligence, while the forest below was a chaos of kinetic impulse. Snoozy existed in the Canopy of Clouds, where the air was thick with the scent of damp moss and the neural static of the world could not reach. Snoozy didn't move. He transitioned. To him, a single reach for a leaf was a systematic protocol, a slow, deliberate unfolding of muscle and intention. One day, a great cerebral storm, the storm of busyness, swept through the forest. The monkeys swung frantically. The birds chirped in a high-frequency panic, and even the trees seemed to shiver with predictive friction. They all looked to the canopy, shouting for everyone to hurry, to hide, to move faster. But Snoozy remained in a state of atmospheric stasis. He knew a secret that the hustle culture of the forest had forgotten. When the storm is at its peak, the only safe place is the center of the stillness. He didn't fight the wind. He became a somatic anchor for his branch. He closed his eyes, sealing his neural sanctuarium, and focused on the zero-point rhythm of his own slow, heavy heart. As the animals below exhausted themselves in the race against the wind, they looked up and saw Snoozy. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't rushing. He was a monument to mercy. His very presence began to act as a frequency stabilizer for the creatures nearby. One by one, the squirrels and the birds climbed higher, seeking the residual kindness of his calm. He taught them the architecture of the pause. He showed them that by doing nothing, he was actually doing the most important work of all. He was preserving the biological integrity of the forest. In the high emerald reaches of the Canopy of Clouds, the Cerebral Storm began to lose its jagged edge. The monkeys, once a blur of high-frequency panic, now sat in the surrounding branches, their chests heaving with the exhaustion of the race. They looked at Snoozy, expecting him to offer a plan, a speech, or a movement. But Snoozy offered them something far more powerful: the architecture of the pause. "Notice the branch," Snoozy whispered, his voice a low-frequency hum that seemed to bypass the ears and settle directly into the nervous system. "It doesn't fight the wind. It has no predictive friction about the next gust. It simply yields. And in yielding, it becomes unbreakable." He began the protocol of decompression. One by one, the animals followed his lead. First, he taught the squirrels to release the kinetic grip. They had spent the day clutching the bark as if the world were falling away. Snoozy showed them how to let the bark hold them instead. This was the shift from active effort to somatic trust. As their tiny muscles softened, a wave of neural restoration swept through the clearing. Next, he looked at the birds. Their wings were still twitching with the residual impulse of flight. "The sky is not going anywhere," Snoozy breathed. "The air is a sovereign cushion. Close your eyes and feel the density of the atmosphere supporting your weight. You don't need to stay aloft. You need to descend." One by one, the wings folded. The neural leak of the storm's chaos was being sealed by the gilded void of Snoozy's presence. He moved with a systematic slowness that was almost hypnotic. A single blink of his eyes took 3 full heartbeats. A shift of his weight was a 5-minute study in gravitational alignment. He wasn't just being lazy, he was performing a structural audit of his own peace. He was proving that the faster the world moves, the more critical the zero-point anchor becomes. "The storm didn't tire you," Snoozy said, his words drifting like slow-falling leaves. "Your resistance to the storm tired you. The hustle is a friction that wears down the soul. But here, in the Canopy of Clouds, we practice the mercy of nothingness." The animals began to feel a profound biological synchronicity. The forest was no longer a place of competition or functional living. It had become a neural sanctuary. The monkey's breathing slowed to match Snoozy's. The bird's heart rates dropped into the recovery zone. Snoozy felt the residual kindness of the forest rising up to meet him. He had become a frequency stabilizer for the entire ecosystem. By refusing to rush, he had given everyone else permission to stop. The light in the canopy shifted from a harsh, stormy gray to a soft, luminous. Indigo the clouds weren't just vapor anymore. They were a somatic blanket, wrapping the high branches in a layer of atmospheric insulation. In the absolute center of the Gilded Void, the air in the Canopy of Clouds became thick and sweet, a somatic syrup that moved only when Snoozy's chest rose in a long, slow-motion wave. The other animals, the monkeys, the birds, the squirrels were no longer separate entities. They had become a unified neural network, all vibrating at the same low, restorative frequency. Snoozy initiated the final stage, the deconstruction of time. "Do not think of the minute that just passed," he whispered, his voice so deep it felt like the mountain itself was speaking. "Do not look for the minute that is coming. Those are predictive frictions. In this canopy, we live only in the infinite present." He demonstrated this by reaching for a single, dew-covered leaf. His arm didn't move with an impulse. It drifted. It was a kinetic meditation. It took 10 heartbeats for his claws to unlock from the bark. It took 20 heartbeats for his limb to extend. To the frantic world below, this would look like wasted time. To Snoozy, it was a systematic audit of every fiber. He felt the texture of the moss, a structural map of softness. He felt the cool dampness of the cloud mist on his fur, a thermal sanctuary. The monkeys watched, their eyes wide and unfocused. They began to copy him. A monkey who had spent his life in a high-frequency blur of jumping and shouting now sat perfectly still, watching a single raindrop slide down a leaf. In that moment, the monkey wasn't productive, but he was whole. The neural leak of his constant activity was finally being plugged by the mercy of the slow. "The world will tell you that the fastest one wins," Snoozy breathed, his eyes now half closed in a state of sovereign bliss. "But the fastest one only reaches the end sooner. The one who moves with systematic slowness is the only one who actually experiences the journey." The atmospheric stasis was now so profound that even the light seemed to slow down, turning into a liquid gold that pooled in the hollows of the branches. The Cerebral Storm was now nothing more than a faint, distant memory, a residual echo that had no power here. Snoozy felt his own worry bucket tip over, not with a crash, but with a slow, silent spill of light. He had no more tasks, no more functional obligations. He was a coordinate of absolute rest in the deepest center of the Gilded Void. The forest below had vanished into a soft, white sea of mist, leaving only the highest branches of the Canopy of Clouds floating like islands in an ocean of silence. Snoozy the Sloth had now reached the final stage of his protocol, the somatic dissolution. He was no longer a creature clinging to a tree. He had become the architecture of the tree itself. Feel the bark, Snoozy whispered, his voice now a low-frequency vibration that resonated through the wooden heart of the canopy. It does not struggle to stay upright. It does not plan for the next season. It simply exists in a state of structural grace. Let your muscles learn its language. Around him, the monkeys and birds had moved beyond the need for movement. Their bodies had reached an optimal stasis, their fur and feathers blending into the soft shadows of the moss, the neural leak of their daily lives. The constant search for food, the protection of territory. The social frictions had been entirely siphoned off by the atmospheric insulation of the clouds. Snoozy felt a subterranean connection rising up through the trunk of the tree. He could feel the slow, heavy movement of sap deep within the wood, a hydraulic lullaby that moved with the same systematic slowness as his own blood. In this state of biological synchronicity, there was no longer any difference between the breather and the air, or the sleeper and the bed. He looked at his claws, locked firmly around the branch. In the hustle culture of the world, a grip is a sign of tension. But in the Canopy of Clouds, Snoozy showed them the gilded grip, a hold so natural and so effortless that it required zero metabolic cost. It was the ultimate sovereign power, the ability to stay exactly where you are without losing a single drop of energy. The world is a series of pulses. Snoozy brisked, his eyes now closed as he drifted into the Sovereign Void. But the space between the pulses is where the neural restoration happens. Tonight, we are living in that space. We are the gap. We are the silence. We are the mercy of the mid-breath. The Cerebral Storm was now a residual memory, a distant flicker of light on a horizon that no longer mattered. Snoozy's heart rate had reached its restorative floor, a beat so slow and so powerful that it felt like the very ticking of the universe itself. Welcome. Let's begin our journey into the Gilded Void. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and allow your body to feel heavy. We are entering the Canopy of Clouds, a place of high-density peace, where every molecule of air becomes a somatic cushion, pressing gently against you like a warm, invisible ocean. Here, we meet Snoozy the Sloth. He has moved beyond simply doing nothing. He is now being nothing. He is no longer just a biological entity. He has become a coordinator of stillness. His voice drifts toward you, a low-frequency pulse from the heart of an ancient wood. Forget the weight of your name, he whispers. Forget the functional obligations of your ski. In this canopy, we are not our roles. We are not our labels. We are the gap in the noise. Observe as Snoozy demonstrates the protocol of total yielding. He lets his chin sink into the soft, damp moss of the branch, allowing the structural integrity of the tree to take over every ounce of his weight. This is the final defeat of internal friction. When you stop holding yourself up, the universe begins to carry you. Feel this release in your own body. Let go of the tension in your shoulders, your jaw, your hands. Allow the surface beneath you to fully support you. Surrender your weight completely around you. The forest has reached optimal The neural leak of the entire ecosystem has been plugged. The monkeys are so still, they look like stone carvings. The birds have slowed their internal clocks until a single minute feels like 1,000 years of neural restoration. This is the sovereign sanctuary, a place where the hustle of the world is revealed as a mere illusion, a ripple on the surface of a deep, dark lake. Your worries, your to-do lists, they are just distant echoes here. They have no power. Snoozy feels his own heartbeat become a subsonic anchor. Tune into your own heartbeat. Feel its rhythm slowing down, becoming deeper, more profound. Thump, a long, expansive silence that stretches across the stars. Thump, a deep, cooling wave of indigo light washing through your very marrow. He is teaching the forest the mercy of the mid-breath. Most creatures rush to the next inhale, afraid of the empty space in between. But Snoozy shows us that this space is the Gilded Void itself. It is the only place where the mind can truly decompress. Notice the pause after your next exhale. Linger there for just a moment. Feel the stillness, the quiet. There is nothing to do, nothing to be, just this peaceful emptiness. In this high sanctuary, the cerebral storm is now a ghost frequency, a distant noise that has no structural reality. The clouds have thickened, creating a thermal barrier that keeps the coldness of the world out and the warmth of residual kindness in. You are safe. You are held. You are at peace. We are now moving into the deepest, most absolute layer of the Gilded Void. The atmosphere in the Canopy of Clouds has reached a state of total molecular stasis. The air is heavy and sweet with the scent of high-altitude moss, feeling like a somatic embrace, pulsing with a gentle warmth against your skin. Snoozy has moved past being still and into structural integration. He is no longer a creature in a tree. He is a coordinate of the forest's soul. And so are you. You are part of this deep, profound stillness. Release the last tether. Snoozy's voice resonates, a low hum from the very roots of the mountain below. Release the neural grip of your identity. In this sanctuary, we are not seekers. We are not workers. We are the silence between the thunder. He initiates the final protocol of the infinite drift. He allows his claws to lose their kinetic sharpness, softening into the bark until the tree and the sloth are a single, unified biological fortress. This is the ultimate victory over internal friction. When you stop resisting the pull of the earth, you stop being tired. You become gravity itself. Feel yourself merging with the stillness. Your edges soften. The boundary between you and the space around you dissolves. Around you, the forest has reached absolute The monkeys, the birds, the squirrels are now living statues of peace. The neural leak of the entire ecosystem has been completely cauterized. The hustle of the world is revealed to be nothing more than a flicker of light on a vast, dark, perfect ocean. Snoozy feels his own heart rate descend into the restorative floor. Your heart rate follows, finding a slow, steady, and deeply calming rhythm. Thump, a long, expansive silence stretching toward the edge of the universe. Thump, a deep, cooling wave of indigo energy washing through your very marrow. The space between your breaths is now your home. The cerebral storm cannot follow you here. The hustle culture of the world below is now a ghost frequency, a distant noise with no reality in this high cathedral of clouds. The mist is a thermal barrier holding you in the warmth of residual kindness. You are completely and utterly at rest. We have reached the deepest reach of the Gilded Void. The forest has finally achieved absolute stasis. The cerebral storm of the world below has not just passed. It has been deconstructed into a state of 0.C Lenze. Snoozy the Sloth has reached the final coordinate of neural restoration. His grip on the branch is no longer a physical act, but a somatic merger. He has let go of the hustle, the function, and the identity of being a creature that must move. He has become the architecture of the pause. Around him, the animals are held in a sovereign cradle of mist. Their heartbeats have synchronized with the slow, tectonic pulse of the mountain, creating a unified biological shield against the noise of the world. There are no more breaths to count, no more tasks to complete, no more neural leaks to seal. The mercy of nothingness is now absolute. As the first faint light of a distant, unseen dawn presses against the edge of the Canopy of Clouds, it finds a world that is perfectly, systematically renewed. The forest is not just sleeping. It is reborn in the stillness. Snoozy's heart gives one last, deep, resonant thumpa sound that carries the weight of 1,000 years of peace. And then there is only the luminous void. Stay here as long as you wish, held in this perfect renewal. The protocol is sealed. The Gilded Void is your home. The rest you have earned is infinite. Thank you for joining this journey. If you found this state of release, please consider liking this video and subscribing. Your support helps us continue to create these spaces for tired souls. Good night. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your night. May you find deep peace and restful sleep. Wishing you the sweetest dreams. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.